we haven't told you how all of our upgrades have been holding up.
Exhaust gas temperatures, boost pressure, and the most important one is the fuel pressure gauge. I'm so glad we did this paint job with the Raptor liner.
Our roof racks are holding up really well.
So these are our Air Dog fuel filter, water separator, and fuel pump. Our rear leaf springs and rear suspension. We have our pusher intake components and our buck stop bumper here.
The contact paper, this table moving bracket. Now we're gonna start heading up the Oregon coast. We have officially entered Washington.
We're walking out on this jetty at the mouth of the Columbia River. My name is Billy.
I'm Sierra, and this is our dog Jetty.
We usually live and travel on a boat, a few different boats in fact.
But now we are driving across the country as our new boat is being built.
Join us on this all-new Terra Tula adventure
as we drive, bike, hike, paddle, and sail across the good old USA.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Hey guys, coming at you for a real-time update. This whole video is going to talk about how the truck has held up the past year living in it, full-time, traveling in it, across the country, up and down the East Coast. We've done a lot of miles, we've seen a lot of cool things. We've used and abused the inside, the outside, and she has held up super well, so stay tuned if you are interested in all of those updates. And if you happen to be interested in the truck at all, she's officially for sale. You can find the link in the description. All the information you should ever need to know will be in there. Our contact info is in there. She's currently located in California. This one's going to be a hard one. Billy's owned the truck for over 12 years now, so he's very attached to her. We have put so much time and effort, blood, sweat, and tears into fixing up the camper and all the upgrades we did to the truck. But she's ready to go to a new home because we are, and I'm sure you are, ready for us to get back on the water, and we are super excited to bring you along for that, so stay tuned. You're gonna like it. We're doing some cool things coming at you, so please enjoy the video, and remember the link is in the description if you are interested in the truck. See you later. Okay, I was not kidding when I said we spent $30 to spend the night in the parking lot. This is literally the parking lot of the RV resort. But the other option was spending like $70 to have an actual space and plug in, which we don't even need to do. So, $30 it is. But we did break our record of not paying to sleep. But whatever, we'll start a new one. Now we're gonna start heading up the Oregon coast.
Good breakfast.
Are you ready?
First, coffee.
I think today is going to be the day we cross over the Washington state border. Are you excited?
No, we're in Oregon right now, just driving along the coast. We just drove through Seaside, and now we're just heading north. So yeah, we'll be over to Washington in not too long at all.
I think just an hour. So super excited about that. This has been like our one spot that we've been looking forward to so much because next week we are going to be chartering a Sea Wind in the San Juan Islands with San Juan Sailing Charters, and we are super excited. But we have a whole week to kind of just explore up the coast, and we're going to take advantage of every second of it. But while we were driving, we were just talking about how we haven't told you how all of our upgrades have been holding up. So I think that's what we're going to talk about today.
So if you guys are just joining us now and you don't know, I've had this truck for a long time. We bought the camper over a year ago, and then we just did a ton of work to the truck, to the camper, the inside, the outside, just making sure everything is super reliable and solid, and then of course making it look nice, especially what you did on the inside of the camper.
And we did it all ourselves, and we did it on a budget. We didn't like splurge on anything. I think our biggest splurge was probably like our Raptor liner.
And like some components of the truck. I didn't go crazy, but I definitely, like the suspension, I definitely went a little less budget. But it's all been holding up pretty nice, but we just want to give you a little update on everything. I mean, it's a 1999 truck, and the camper's, 2005, so it'll be a good update for you to just let you guys know how everything is holding up on this rig, what we would change, what we would do different.
And how some of our super cheap fixes did last, and if we still recommend them. So, what'd you do in here?
Well, right, just in the cab, we put a new radio in here because my radio didn't work for the longest time. And one thing that was happening with the radio is like we'll be listening to music or a podcast and we'll go over a bump and all of a sudden it kept skipping back to the beginning of the song or the previous song. It was so freaking annoying. But I didn't tell you this. I figured out what was happening.
What?
Alright, so not only did I put the radio in, but I also mounted these little like scan strut bases, like one here, and then that way I could have this mount to hold our phone. We have a tablet mount, so we could even have the iPad here, so like one could be one map, the other one could be another map, or Sierra could be using it to find our next place or whatever. So what was happening is, like especially when the iPad was here, we hit a bump. This corner of this mount where I mounted the scan strut base is hitting this reverse button.
But that doesn't explain it, because we also, when you were going in reverse, you think you were just tapping it?
Yeah, because sometimes when I like touch my phone to change something, it was happening. I was like, what is going on? And I finally realized, like, just barely the corner of this base is like hitting this back button. And I finally figured it out. It was driving me nuts. I thought it was something electrical, like, in the radio.
That would have been really nice to know when we were on that washboard road for about an hour in the UP, but now we know. Now we know.
For like an hour, we're going like
we
5
listened
miles
to the
an hour.
same, like, 10 seconds of one song for about an hour.
It just kept going back to the beginning. I took the cigarette lighter out and I put a few USB outlets in. So I've had these gauges in my truck. There's nothing performance about what we've done to the truck, like in terms of like increasing horsepower or injectors or anything. The gauges are strictly just to make sure that everything is working properly. Like I can just keep an eye on the transmission temperature just because it's such an old truck. Like if I can keep an eye on all this stuff and I see like the trannies start to get way too hot, we can just pull over and assess it before it causes catastrophic damage. You can just get hints of what is wrong with the gauges, so exhaust gas temperatures and boost pressure, and then the most important one is the fuel pressure gauge. This truck has a electronically controlled injection pump, and they're known to be a little bit fickle, especially if you starve it with fuel. So this is just making sure that our air dog fuel system, fuel filter, doesn't get clogged or doesn't develop a leak or anything. So we can catch that right away if we get a clog or a leak or something, and we won't ruin our expensive injector pump. Update, seatbelts work sometimes. Did you ever figure out where it just works randomly? It just works randomly. Well, people have said that we can bring the trucks at Chrysler and they'll like fix them or something, but they've been working pretty consistently. So we're working today, folks. Is our bridge to Washington. Washington, Oregon. We have officially entered Washington. Welcome to Washington. Are you excited? Yeah, are you? Heck yeah! Woo! Besides Alaska and Hawaii, we're pretty much in the farthest state possible from Florida. Yeah, right? We couldn't be any farther away. One of the best things about being in a truck camper is we can be considered an RV, but we could also not be considered an RV. So some places you have to pay a little bit extra, but you get longer spaces, and they're usually in the front of some parks, like at the Apostle Islands. We got a nice space when there was no parking because we were an RV. But like the trailhead here that we want to park at says no RVs. We're small enough that we're not considered an RV, and we can fit in the space and go in there. So, right? Does that make sense? Yeah, definitely. Like we're not an RV, I don't think. Like we're not registered as an RV or anything like that. We have the wheelbase of a pickup truck. But we are oversized enough with our overhangs of our bike and our back rack that we are considered oversized. Does that mean we're abusing the system? No, it's just if there's a normal parking space, we can make it work, and if there's a big parking space, we could also make it work. So, best of both worlds. So we just got to Cape Disappointment, and we drove all the way as far in the park as we could, and we're gonna go check out the beach. So we're like at the mouth of the Columbia River. It's where the Columbia River right here comes out and meets the Pacific Ocean.
Pretty cool. Do you want to give them an update on the outside of our rig and how it's holding up?
The outside of our rig is holding up amazingly well. Everything. I'm so glad we did this paint job with the Raptor liner. If we ever did it again, we'd use either this or something similar. There's a product, I think it's Sherwin-Williams, right?
Wait, why would we switch? That is so good.
It's so good, but Sherwin-Williams has the same sort of product, same chemical paint, but it's a little bit cheaper, I think.
But we can't recommend that because we've never tried it. But this...
Yeah, this is holding up amazing. Like, it's not... Yeah, it's the paint's holding up really well. I mean, Sierra sanded the whole camper, and then we cleaned it really well, and then I sprayed it on. And I went a little light in some spots accidentally, but still, it's holding up fantastic.
And we've gone in some areas where, like, we're literally, like, getting scratched, like, and you can hear it by the trees, and no signs at all, really. Our cheap truck bed liner spray paint didn't do so hot, but
On the plastic.
But the Raptor liner did amazing. And then what about your riveting and stuff?
It's holding up all right. Like, it's been very functional. I wish I had finished making this, like, rubber latch thing, because, like, this comes out just a little when we're going to the wind. It's really not bad at all.
Just to make it more waterproof?
Yeah, just to tighten it up a little bit like this, but honestly, it's whatever. It's just super functional. I had some rivets come out on some little parts where it's like kind of just rubbing.
You added.
Yeah, I added. This is just a thin piece of aluminum because this is where the mount was that we took off. The thing that lift the truck camper off. So that's why we needed a fixed piece. And because the truck camper moves a little bit differently from the actual bed it rests on, that's why this flexes a little and the rivets came out. So I don't know what the long-term perfect solution is for that, but whatever. Like, I just added some more thicker screws and it's holding up fine.
If you haven't seen the video where we put this whole thing together, Billy designed this whole bottom
I just kind
cabinetry
of built it as I went
on a truck bed, and he did a really good job. All by himself, came up with it, drew it out, created it. And then as for the back of the truck, our roof racks are holding up really well. Are you impressed with your roof rack job?
Yeah, that's been extremely functional. We have 5 boards mounted up there, and that's been awesome. I made it just out of kind of standard aluminum tubing and connector pieces. A little dirty. Need a little bath.
Yeah, definitely need a bath. This quick fix has been a pretty good quick fix.
Did we fully explain this? Like, this is just our gray water tank because our actual gray water tank is leaking. So instead of trying to pull the camper off and replace that tank and do all this plumbing, we were on the road, we're ready to go. So we just mounted this little, it's like our back porch area now, and we can fold the steps down and step right here and wipe our feet. And that's actually been really functional too. And then this is just our gray water tank, so it just, goes into there, and then we just dump that once in a while. Quick fix. Doesn't look the best, but again, it got us on the road going real quick.
And show them your handy dandy poop chute holder.
I just did, it's a 6-inch PVC pipe. It's got our sewer line in there. We just pull it out, hook it up, use it, rinse it, slide it back in there, and it's got some drain holes on the bottom if there's any leftover moisture that just drips out after we rinse it. And so much nicer. It's its own home right there. It looks good, and it doesn't go, in here it was just a mess with all my tools and stuff. There was no good home for it. It was just kind of floating around in that storage compartment. So,
which is gnarly.
That's been holding up great. So these are our air dog fuel filter, water separator, and fuel pump. And like I said before, one of the most important things for this truck is to keep it well supplied of cool diesel fuel and cool clean diesel fuel. And the air dog filters and pump have been working amazingly well. When I first installed this, I got a little criticism that they hang down a little bit, but I don't know if you can tell from this angle, but they're pretty tucked up there. This tray under the transmission and the fuel tank is actually lower than where these fuel filters are. Yeah, maybe I could still clip them with something, but it's unlikely, and it's the best spot for them for just how they came and everything. So That's been holding up well. Our rear leaf springs and rear suspension is all holding up pretty well. We did just a custom leaf pack with a few additional leaves in there to get the level right. We have like a 3-inch lift in this whole thing. So we just got a whole new leaf pack, custom leaves in there, and with the helper leaves up here that rest on this little mount on the frame up here. But everything's holding up super well. New shocks as well. The thing with the rear, it doesn't have a ton of travel. The rear leaf pack is a bit stiff. Probably could take like 1 leaf out of there or something. But still, it's been solid. I'd rather it be a little stiff, a little overbuilt than not. We have a lot of weight back here, so we just want to make sure we support it really well. We also have our Hellwig sway bar back here, and that's been holding up amazingly well. It keeps our truck from swaying back and forth too much. So as you guys can see, we have our pusher intake components and the silicone boots. We replaced all that stuff before we left just to make sure that, you know, any of those old silicone boots wouldn't crack, and I'm really happy with all that stuff. This is a much better shape than the stock intake tube that goes into the intake manifold there. So that's all been working really well. We got a cold air filter. That's also been working really well. I have a little screen over the filter, something that we could take off and wash, just to have a part of it that you can actually clean pretty easy. So I have to do that. I can see it's getting a bit dusty in here. It's been a year. I've never cleaned the screen over it, so it's about time for that because we've been on some dusty roads. And then all the other little things I did in here, the radiator, the water pump, thermostat, all that stuff has been holding up well as well. Knock on wood. All this stuff we did over a year ago, but within that time frame, we went from Florida all the way up to Maine, all the way back down to Florida, and then all the way up to New York, and all the way across the country. Now we're in Oregon, so the stuff has been put to good use for sure. So you guys have obviously seen our buck stop bumper here, and that's another upgrade that if I ever get another truck like this, even if we didn't do it like a camper rig or anything, I'd definitely go with this style buck stop bumper. But I love the way it looks. Luckily we haven't hit anything, so we haven't tested out the functionality of it, but it's a solid bumper and guard. And then we put some lights in there, and the lights have been awesome. Those are our extra bright lights. So they've been really, really good. And then we also have the lights, the rough country lights that we have up on the rack there. We have one on each side and the super bright one in the front. And like, especially the ones off the front, like between these two and the super bright one up there. Those have all been amazing for like when we're going down these like forest roads and stuff at night, and just, you could light up the whole thing like way down the road. So that's been really good. And then I just like having the other ones around the side and the back. That way we can turn those on from inside the camper. That way if anyone knocks on our door at night, we could just light up the whole surrounding of the truck and just see what's going on before we open the door or whatever.
You forgot about our bike rack. So we got this when we started this cross-country trip. So we've had it about 4 months now, and it's kind of blocking the way of your bumper, acting as another bumper. But bought it off Facebook Marketplace, right?
Yeah,
super
for like
cheap,
$40 or $60.
and it's been working really well.
Yeah,
we really, really like it.
I had to modify it a little bit to fit into the hitch in the bumper, but yeah, it obstructs our vision just a tiny bit.
Me a lot of it.
You a little bit more than me because I'm taller, but it's really not that bad. Like, especially for not driving at night, it's not bad at all. It's completely fine. If it wasn't safe, if it was obstructing our vision too much, I would figure out something off the rear, but it's been pretty good.
A lot of other truck camper people, they have their bike rack on the back, but I like ours on the front so much more because, first of all, we need that space on the back for our, like, that gray water tank, but also it's so much easier to like get in the door, and then we wouldn't be able to get up our ladder or anything. So
yeah, there's just
I like how we have it.
Some different options, and this might not be a good one for everyone, but it's fine for us. It's been working out well. They do make like swing out ones in the back, so if you had to get in the door, you could like swing it out or whatever.
But then it would be in the way of our ladder.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go check out the water.
Should we walk over to the jetty?
Sure. But she's right here. There's crabs everywhere. Whoa. What kind of crabs are those?
I don't know. Washington crabs.
Jetty!
They're all up and down the beach. They're all crabs, huh?
You're crazy! You're crazy!
Call it off and don't look back. Take me off this lonely track. All my worries of yesterday, I can't seem to get away. We were golden, turning blue.
The mouth of the Columbia River. I wonder how long it takes the water from Hood River to get out here. Big ship going out. We're walking out on this jetty at the mouth of the Columbia River. It separates the Columbia River from the ocean. And it's huge. This is by far the biggest jetty I've ever seen in my life, I think.
But not the best, because the best is right there.
It just keeps going though. Look how far it is. We're already like... What?
So online and on the big board as you come into Cape Disappointment, it says that the campground is full, but we saw that there were a lot of open spots, so I went up there and I asked if there was any openings, and he said one person had canceled, so there's one spot left. So we got it. It was $36. There's supposed to be waves tomorrow, so that's why we decided to maybe splurge that $36 and stay here because it's right on the beach. Are you excited? Do you like it here?
It is a really neat area. A lot of cool little hiking trails, a huge beach, huge long jetty, and apparently there's some surf in that area as well. So I think we got some options. We'll see what happens, but either way, it's a cool area and some cool hiking and everything.
Let's go find our spot for tonight. What are you supposed to do if you feel the ground shake?
Take cover.
You have 15 minutes to get to Highland.
Really? No way.
And you gotta be in the pink. Don't you want to come see what the pink is?
Yeah. Hold on.
You think they actually get tsunamis here?
I couldn't say. Probably not in a while if they have. Sierra already showered, she's whipping up some dinner, but I took a walk down to the beach just while the sun's going down, and look how beautiful this is over here. I'm on top of a big rock right now. The lighthouse is somewhere right over these rocks, like right up there. One of the lighthouses. The sun's about to go down. Wind completely blasted off. Some people on the beach. I can't get over how many huge pieces of driftwood there are up and down these beaches here. This big old rock. So our campsite's like right over here. Just incredible. Really cool spot. Good looking waves. Might have to try to surf tomorrow. sunset.
Oh my goodness, you're right on time.
Wow, that looks amazing. I love edamame spaghetti.
Tastes a little bit like mush, but we'll just
Did you cook it for too long?
I just follow the instructions.
It smells delicious.
Can you tell it's made from soybeans?
Edamame. Is that the same thing as soybeans?
Mm-hmm.
Delicious.
Okay guys, now we're going to tell you how all of our interior upgrades... Jetty, I already fed you dinner. Now we're going to tell you how our budget upgrades for the interior... Take 3. Now we're going to tell you how the interior upgrades went after a year of like full-time use, and I am pretty pleased with everything that we did. I think my favorite, maybe I can't do a favorite, but the sticker tile has done really well, especially because right behind the oven gets really, really hot and we haven't had any issues, and I think it looks really nice. The paint held up really, really well. And that is probably because I sanded and cleaned and sanded and cleaned and sanded and cleaned like a bajillion times and bought the proper paint and did all that research, but I'm very pleased with it. The one bit of paint that I'm not super pleased with is the spray paint I did on all of the hardware handles. What are these called? Drawer handles? Drawer and cabinet handles. And I did sand them, I did clean them, but some of them are still like peeling off.
But they're just chipping off. They're just
but
use.
It doesn't bother you, but it bothers me. So I wouldn't like super highly recommend the way that I did it. Probably just pay the $20 and buy all new hardware. Another thing that I'm pretty pleased with, because I think this only costs like, I'd have to go back and look, but like $40. The contact paper. So it's just a sticker. It went on.
Wait, that's not real tile?
No, you mean marble.
That's not real marble?
No. It is just a sticker. Super cheap. Kind of a pain in the butt to do, but it was like way easier than anything else. It has peeled off in a couple places. Here.
Just like the corners that wear.
And here. And I was almost 100% positive I kept a little bit so I could like patch them up, but I can't find it anywhere. But especially like on the corners and stuff. But it doesn't really bother us. The floor held up really, really well. It's just vinyl waterproof click-in flooring. Voila! However, they are floating, so they are coming apart in one. Come here, Jenny.
Just one little crack.
Right there.
Just that one. But
I'm sure we can fix it somehow. We just
that out of the whole floor, that's the only one that's like, yeah.
We haven't bothered. The cushions that I did, holding up really, really well. This piece is a pain in the butt. We're always throwing it somewhere. We brought it along in case anybody came to visit, which people are coming to visit in a couple weeks, so I'm glad we brought it. It goes on this table. When this table goes down, it makes this whole area bed. But when it's not being used as a bed, it's literally just getting thrown everywhere because it's always in the way. One thing I love that we got is this table moving bracket, and it just can move the table in so many different ways, and it's really great. Aren't you pleased with this?
Yeah, that is a...
Because we can move it like completely out of the way and then we have more room.
Even for a boat, that's going to be an option if we ever need something like that.
Yeah.
But definitely. For a van or RV, for sure, that thing's awesome.
Recently, we've added a basket. We should have done it a long time ago. Hanging fruit basket. We've always had something like this in the boat. And we finally just bought one on Amazon. It's not the exact same one we had on the boat. The ones we had on the boat are better. But this was the only one that they had in stock. But it works pretty well. Keeps them in for the most part. It comes down a little low, but pretty good.
You have a lot of dishes to do, love.
I just made dinner. I also made him lunch and breakfast. These are all Billy's dishes. Sorry for the mess.
How
what
this thing?
Oh, I do like this. It kind of just covers it up, although this is another thing that we're kind of just always moving in other areas. But it lets you put stuff here on instead of having it wobble around on the stove grate things. It's got grippy things. So if you were to just put this here, like, it would definitely fall.
Just more counter space.
This, yeah.
When we don't need the stove.
Yeah, when we need the stove, it's another thing that just always kind of floats around. One area that my paint job didn't do, like, A+, besides the handles, is around the corners of the fridge.
I think it might just be moisture from, like...
It's probably because I couldn't get the sandpaper in that close.
Oh,
But,
it's not that bad. I mean, if you look at it, I guess you notice it, but just don't look at it.
yeah. Fans, we added these about 6 months ago. Totally worth it. Definitely recommend. Same fans we've had on all boats. We'll have forever, no matter what we're living in.
And they're 12-volt fans.
Yeah, don't take much energy. We love hooks, and I wish I could put hooks everywhere, but we don't really have any place else to put them. But now our backpacks are not floating around everywhere. We have a place to hang the towels. Screens have been working A+. We haven't had any no-seams venture in here, so the job has been accomplished. Still love our barn door.
That was easiest
Yeah, it was
project I've ever done.
super easy. One thing that did happen though was there's supposed to be a stopper right here, and it broke off, and now it can kind of swing and like get out of its track.
I
So-
could just move that track over, probably.
So we have to be careful, but yeah, there was something there and that broke off. So in here, we have since added the composting head, which I think we both really love. Super nice not having to worry about dumping the black water tank. And then you guys remember I had our mirror in here that I added all of our shells to, our favorite shells and shark teeth. But that was a disaster from the very beginning because every time we went on a bump, something would fall off and they would generally fall right down the sink and go right down the drain. So that wasn't great, but we just replaced it with the cheapest mirror from Walmart, and now that's working fine. Billy has recently added all of these containers to hold our shampoo and conditioner, which is great because before they were just always kind of falling all over the place. Everything in here is working pretty well. Our shower, still use it all the time. Hot water heater, working really well. If you've been watching, you watched me spray paint this.
The whole sink?
Yes. Don't recommend that. The
Why,
mirror,
it's chipping?
yeah, and it just makes it look really dirty when it's really just like paint coming off. And our old mirror had fallen off at one point and scratched it all up, so that was pain. But yeah, probably just get a new sink. Don't try to spray paint it. But for how cheap it was, I don't really mind. We've been on boats before where if the mattress is sitting on a surface and you're sleeping on it and the temperature is different, it gets moist, and then if you don't pay attention to it, it gets moldy. So we have actually added, it's hard to see, move this out of the way, these grate things so the mattress doesn't sit just on the wood.
And it's completely dry under here.
Yeah, and it's not moist at all. When we bought this camper, that whole wood section was like covered in mold. So I knew we had to do something to prevent that, so I just bought those on Amazon, and I bought one pack and I just did it in a way so they would be like all in the middle and then kind of going out from the sides. Amazon mattress, love our mattress, love going to bed. We didn't put these in, but I really do love these. Our curtain things.
There's only one problem with them. They're like not blackout.
Oh yeah. If the lights are on here and we're like changing, you can probably see us, but
Just our silhouettes.
but yeah, I love having them. And they're super easy. And they go right back up and they look good. I think that's about all of our upgrades that we've done. I'm pretty dang pleased with everything we did in here,
Me too.
I would say. What about your like batteries and stuff?
All that stuff is working amazing. We got 200 amp hours of Dakota lithium batteries. We have 400 watts of Zamp solar on the roof, and then charge controllers, and then we did a DC to DC charger, so we charge the batteries when the truck engine is running, and that combination of everything is working really well. I think lithium, it's 100% the way to go in a camper like this, where weight is a factor and usable amp hours is a factor, and DC to DC charger I think is key, and solar is amazing.
I think after all of the things we have done, all the places we have gone, all the miles we have driven, after a year of like using this, I'm very pleased with everything we did, because we did it. There was a couple things we splurged on, but we did it very much budget friendly, and I'm pleased.
As like budget friendly as you could go, but still having like a very, very functional rig.
Yeah.
And nice looking relatively.
I think she looks nice.
Your inside looks amazing.
Oh shucks, thanks. What do you think, Jets? I think that's about it for today. I think we're gonna go to bed. I think Billy's gonna do his dishes. Maybe we'll wake up tomorrow and there will be waves. If you have not already, make sure you subscribe, because we do things like this all the time. Updates on our truck camper, updates on our boat, new places. We post videos once or twice a week, so if you would like to follow along, make sure you subscribe. And if you think anybody would like this or is in the middle of doing some truck camper or van life upgrades and maybe would find some of these products interesting, like our sticker tile or our sticker countertop, give this video a share, please. And most importantly, thank you for watching. I almost forgot to show you, we probably have the most heavy duty toilet paper holder you will ever find. But our toilet paper roll was something was always falling on the ground, and if we were on a lean, our shower pan would still have water in it, and then our toilet paper would get all soggy. And we didn't have a toilet paper holder because this is the shower and it gets super wet, and all the waterproof ones were really giant and they took up a lot of space, so we took a command strip and we took some Dyneema, because Billy never goes anywhere without any Dyneema, and we just loop it and we stick it right there. And then the shower curtain,
toilet paper holder right there.
And then the shower curtain goes over it and it doesn't get water on it. Hello.